This video is brought to you by Soundcore. The Soundcore Liberty 5 have landed in my studio, and I've had them here for a few weeks now, and I am definitely impressed. But will they actually be strong enough to dethrone the Liberty 4 Pro? Let's go ahead and talk about it. As always, there will be links to all the products down in the video description. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So first up, let's talk about that Bluetooth connection. So the Liberty 5 are featuring Bluetooth 5.4 with AAC, SBC, and LDAC as their connection codecs. While the Liberty 5 are compatible with both iOS and Android devices, you will need an Android device that supports LDAC to get the max sound performance out of these earbuds. Now, the Liberty 5 are also featuring Google Fast Pair, which makes pairing easy with compatible Android devices. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth range, I was able to get 41 feet or just about 12.5 meters. Now, with the Liberty 5, you also get single usage mode, and that's basically where you can use one earbud at a time while you leave the other one charging in the case. So this works seamlessly in my testing here. And you also maintain the ability to use both active noise cancellation and transparency mode with one earbud in use. So basically, if you have one of those jobs that says you can't use earbuds in your ears, or maybe you could just use one earbud, these are going to work perfectly for you. Another feature that you get with the Liberty 5 is multi-point connectivity for up to 2 devices. And so far, the multi-point feature has worked well with all of my devices, including my iPad Pro, my iPhone 15 Pro Max, my Nothing Phone 3a Pro, and my Pixel 9 Pro. So now let's move over to watching video and mobile gaming. The Liberty 5 have minimal latency when watching video or when playing games thanks to its use of Bluetooth 5.4. So apps like YouTube or TikTok or Netflix work perfectly, so no issues there. When it comes to mobile gaming, there is a gaming mode here which helps reduce latency or lag, as well as adjusting EQ for an improved gaming experience. Now, please note, gaming mode cannot be used with LDAC enabled. Just throwing that out there. Nonetheless, I still love to see a gaming mode being included with more Soundcore products. Let's hope that this trend continues. Now, when I talk about lag or latency, what I'm talking about here is when you're watching a video and their mouths aren't aligned with what you're hearing. No issues with that with the Liberty 5. So that's going to bring us over to the style and the comfort of the Soundcore Liberty 5. So these earbuds are available in 4 different colors. You get ink black, abyss blue, cloud white, and rose apricot. Now, once again, Soundcore is using their tried and true stem style design. Now, I know many of you don't like this style of earbuds. You guys have made yourselves heard in my comment section, but I'm still holding out hope that Soundcore will eventually release a new version of their Space A40, maybe a Space A50, I don't know. But, something small and compact that's going to have all the features and performance of the Liberty 5, but in a much more discreet package. So hopefully they're listening. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully they'll do something like that. But nonetheless, we do have a stem style design here, similar to the Liberty 4 and the Liberty 4 Pro. So when it comes to comfort, which is something that's incredibly important with any set of earbuds, please remember that comfort is going to be super subjective since all of our ears are shaped differently. So take what I say about comfort with a grain of salt, since your experience may vary if your ears are shaped differently than mine. So for me, the Liberty 5 have been super comfortable during long listening sessions. They feel light in my ears. They don't create any sort of fatigue or pain points, no discomfort or anything like that. So far, so good. So all of that to say that if you end up having a lot of comfort issues with your earbuds, the Liberty 5 might be a good option for you. Now, another question that I get asked quite often is whether or not they have good grip, or if they're going to be good for workouts or sports. So far, grip has been very good for me. But again, this is going to depend on your ear shape. So during my walks, I haven't experienced any slippage. I didn't have to readjust them. They didn't slip out of my ears. So everything was good to go. Now, Soundcore does include 6 sizes of silicone tips in the box. And the included tips work surprisingly well with plenty of options that will easily fit most people. They go from XL all the way to extra small. So lots of choices here. One thing I will implore you to do is to please take the time to find the right size ear tips for the best seal, the best grip, the best noise cancellation, and the best sound quality. But if you want an upgraded ear tip, make sure you check out a set of the Spinfit Omnis. So here are the Omnis in the large size on my Liberty 5. They fit perfectly on the stem and the charging case. So the charging case still has plenty of room. So no issues with recharging the earbuds while having these tips applied to the earbuds. Now, once again, I have to give kudos to Soundcore for continuing to use a normal nozzle design, allowing customers to use any aftermarket tips that they prefer. Now, lastly, the Liberty 5 also feature an upgraded IP55 water and dust resistance rating, so no issues with sweat or having water splashed on them at all. And yes, I have thoroughly sweated in these earbuds, no problems so far. So all that to say that these are going to be a good option for you if you're looking for a good set of gym earbuds. Now, one of the questions that I get asked surprisingly often is whether or not these earbuds are going to be good for sleep. And now this is another one where user experience is going to vary. For me, the Liberty 5 actually worked better than I expected for sleep, both for back and side sleepers. However, since I am a side sleeper, I did experience a little bit of pain in my left ear after about an hour or so, since the left earbud was sandwiched between my big old fat head and the pillow. So just something to keep in mind. I was able to fall asleep wearing them, but I wasn't able to keep them in my ears after I fell asleep. I did have to take them out. So again, your experience may vary, but just want to throw this out there. So that's going to bring us over to the controls. The Liberty 5 are featuring squeeze controls. Now, sad to say that these are not as responsive as I would have expected from Soundcore, but they still work well. They do support a single, double, and triple squeeze, as well as a long squeeze. And all four of those commands are customizable in the Soundcore app with the ability to disable all of them as needed. Now, last but not least, we also have in-ear detection, as I had mentioned before, for automatic playing and pausing. And this feature is active by default, and it works very well in my testing. However, I normally shut this feature off as a matter of personal preference, but you do you. So now let's jump into app support, and the Soundcore app is available for both iOS and Android devices. Now, when you open up the app, you're going to see the battery status for the buds and the case with actual percentage numbers. Below this, you're going to see your ambient sound controls. That's going to be noise cancellation with the manual mode slider, the dual transportation modes, and wind noise reduction. Below this, you have your normal, that's with ANC and transparency mode turned off, and then you have your transparency mode with your wind noise reduction toggle there as well. Below this, you do have your sound effects. So this is where you're going to get to EQ and do all that stuff. So first up, you're going to have your Dolby audio toggle. You turn that on and you're going to have three modes: music, podcast, and movie. Below this, you have your preference test. That's your Hear ID. So that's if you've already gone through the hearing test, this is where you can just click it and it'll activate that Hear ID EQ. But you click inside here under advanced settings, and then you can do your initial EQ curve. And that's basically the raw EQ curve from your sound test or from your hearing test. Below this, you have your adjust your sound curve, where you can go in and manually EQ your hearing test EQ. And then below this, you have your favorite genre, where you can apply one of the 22 presets to your Hear ID EQ. So a lot of customizability there. Now, backing out of there, you go to default, and this is where you get the 22 EQ presets, Soundcore Signature, Acoustic, all of those, all of which are customizable if you wish. Below that, you do have the custom EQ. This is where you can create and save your own EQ presets. Now, backing out of here, you do see the Hear ID sound test, and this is where you do the actual hearing test for the personalized Hear ID EQ. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Definitely worth doing, in my personal opinion. Below this is where you have the controls, and this is where you can customize your control scheme. You can do custom controls for both left and right earbud individually. All of those options are in there. Below that, you have the gaming mode. So this is where you have the lower latency and sound optimized for gaming. Just to be clear though, it will be grayed out if you have LDAC activated, so just keep that in mind. Now, moving up to the top corner, you have your settings. This is where we have all kinds of settings: in-call sound awareness, wear detection, adaptive sound leakage, safe volume, your sound modes, dual connection for multi-point, fit test, find device, firmware updates, etc., etc. A ton of different settings. So all that to say, make sure you get this app so you can kind of go in there, mess around with it, and get the best experience out of the Liberty 5 that you can. But I want to make one thing clear, is that you do not have to download the Soundcore app to use these earbuds. I strongly recommend that you do so, but you definitely don't have to. So I just want to make that very, very clear. So now let's go ahead and jump into some of the actual performance of the Soundcore Liberty 5, and let's start with the battery life. So Soundcore was claiming 12 hours plus 36 hours in the case for up to a total of 48 hours combined. So those are some serious battery numbers, and these are usually best case scenario situations. So I went ahead and tested these claims for myself. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the numbers right up here on the screen. I tested these with ANC on and off, as well as with LDAC activated or AAC activated. So as you can see, you can get as little as 7 hours and 36 minutes with ANC on and LDAC activated, or as much as nearly 11 hours with ANC turned off at 10 hours and 55 minutes on the AAC codec. So there is a wide variability, but all of that to say, with all these numbers, when you're looking at them, this is excellent battery life, in my personal opinion. If I'm getting over 7 hours, with these earbuds full on, this is top tier. Like I'm really, really appreciating this level, because I'm not going to be listening to earbuds for 7 hours. I'm just letting you guys know that. So I'm not doing that. So the fact that these have that kind of battery life is excellent. Just want to make sure that that's clear. Now, when it comes to charging the earbuds, there is a fast charging option. So if you do drain the earbuds all the way, you can drop them back into the case for 10 minutes, and this will give you an additional 5 hours worth of playback time. Now, when it comes to the charging case, we do get a sliding case similar to that of the Liberty 4 Pro. There is no touchscreen or controls on this one. It's just more of a basic case. You only get a single pairing reset button right in the middle, along with some LED lighting along the front edge. As far as charging the case itself, it does charge via USB-C, and we also get wireless charging here, which is pretty surprising. I love to see that at this non-flagship level earbud. Now, that was a lot of tech jargon, so if you're just wondering about the battery life, it's excellent here. You're good to go. Now that's going to bring us over to the active noise cancellation, and ANC here is very strong in my testing. Soundcore is using adaptive ANC 3.0. They are also claiming 2 times stronger voice reduction with the Liberty 5. Now you do get an ANC strength slider from 1 to 5 with 5 being max, as well as dual transportation mode, one for airplanes and one for vehicles. While the ANC is noticeably strong, especially at this price point, voices can still be heard with ANC on max. However, they are noticeably reduced and sound much thinner in my testing. So they don't have that same bass, that same low mid range that you would hear. So you can still hear them, especially in a quiet room, but they're not as loud or as strong as they would normally be coming in. So there is some work going on here, but obviously there are stronger ANC options out there to be had from some of the bigger name brands, but you have to pay upwards of $200 to $300 to get something that's actually noticeably stronger than these. You also get a wind noise reduction mode with the Liberty 5, so that's always going to be helpful on windy days. So love to see that here. Now, lastly, there is a minimal EQ shift while switching between ANC on and off. So that's another plus. It isn't like a huge difference. I only noticed a slight increase in mid bass, which didn't really bother me very much. So overall, still very good to go here. So all of that said, ANC here, your active noise cancellation, is surprisingly strong. And if this is a feature that you're looking for, you can do pretty good with the Liberty 5. Now that's going to bring us over to the transparency mode. And in my opinion, the Liberty 5 transparency mode is very good. So it's not a huge improvement over the previous version like the Liberty 4 Pro, but still very good nonetheless. For me, the Liberty 5 are easily on par with like the Nothing Ear A or the Sony WF-C710N for their transparency mode. Overall, it sounds pretty natural with only a slight white noise being audible in very quiet environments. So if I'm outdoors walking around, or if I'm in a house with like TV on or other stuff going on, it's pretty much not noticeable at that point. And if you're unfamiliar with what I mean by transparency mode, that's basically when you can activate the microphones and the earbuds so that you can hear your surroundings. And with the Liberty 5, it works surprisingly well. Now that's going to bring us over to the sound and the volume. So let's start with the volume here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the numbers right up here on the screen. With my own custom EQ applied, I got 122.3 decibels of max volume. That's crazy loud. And then with the Soundcore default signature EQ applied, I got 114.1 decibels. Either way, this qualifies them as dummy loud. And easily, these are some of the loudest earbuds that I've tested so far in 2025. Anyone who says that these don't have enough volume, I would probably go ahead and get your ears checked, because when we're talking about 114, a range of max volume between 114 decibels and 122 decibels, this is absurdly loud. So this is also why I give kudos to Soundcore for including that safe volume feature where you can actually set like a hard limit on volume, because yeah, this is crazy loud for sure. These are going to be more than loud enough for like 99% of people out there. I'm just saying. So if you're somebody who needs booming sound out of the earbuds, Liberty 5, they're going to have you covered. Now, before we move into the sound quality, if you're getting any value from this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me. It's completely free for you, and that engagement helps my videos reach more people like you. Thank you so much. Now, jumping into the sound quality, Soundcore definitely switched things up for the Liberty 5 by switching over to a single 9.2mm flexible wool driver. They also feature dual bass enhancing tubes to amplify resonance and increase airflow to bring that thumping bass forward. And it definitely shows in the sound. You also have the 22 EQ presets as well as Hear ID preference for sound personalization based on your own hearing. Now, this preference test is highly effective in my personal experience, and I strongly recommend spending a few minutes going through that hearing test. It really woke up the sound for me and increased overall volume. If you don't want to take the time for all of that, give the give the acoustic preset a try. It's my favorite from the included options, and I think you're going to dig it too. My own custom EQ sounds pretty similar to the acoustic, so I'll put it up here on the screen. Go ahead and pause it here if you want to try my personal EQ on your Liberty 5. Either way, the sound quality is excellent here. Now, lastly, we also get Dolby audio. So the Liberty 5 included 3 modes. You have a music mode, a podcast mode, and a movie mode. To my ears, music mode is the best of the 3. It kind of gives it a wider sort of sound stage to the sound. It makes the sound feel a bit more immersive, in my opinion. Really good with like live recordings or music heavy with instrumentation like bands or orchestras. It's a really cool feature to have, but I still prefer my own personal EQ. Now, when it comes to watching TV shows though, that movie mode works really well, I must admit. I was very surprised, so kudos for the inclusion of Dolby audio with the Liberty 5. But now let's go ahead and break down the sound. So first, let's go ahead and talk about that bass. So we have strong sub bass extension and rumble. Soundcore using 9mm drivers with dual bass tubes really gives the Liberty 5 the ability to deliver a strong bass kick without being overly boomy, in my opinion. You can also add more bass or remove bass in the custom EQ to suit your needs. With my custom EQ applied, I added in a touch more sub bass and it sounds perfect for my personal taste. You can feel the bass as much as hear it, and these are 100% bass head certified for sure. Now, one of the test tracks that I used for testing bass response was P, just the letter P, by Cook and Soul and Larry June. And this track truly showcases the depth and the cleanliness of the bass here. If you're part of my bass head crew, you need to get some Larry June in your playlist ASAP. Now, mind you, it is some grown man shit, so if you know, you know. Now moving over to the mid-range. So we were getting a very smooth mid-range here, so it lends itself very nicely to live vocals as well as live instruments. The mids are a bit more forward with my custom EQ, so if you're not going to use my custom, try that acoustic EQ preset to really hear exactly what I'm hearing out of these earbuds. Now, one of the test tracks that really highlights the strengths of the mid-range here is Luther by Kendrick Lamar featuring SZA. Now, this laid-back track has strong West Coast R&B vibes, and it's definitely something you want to hear. SZA's sultry vocals, along with the way that the strings come in just the overall mix of the song, it's something that really needs to be appreciated to be understood. So definitely make sure you check that out. Now, moving over to the treble here is crisp and clear with no sibilance, no harshness. It's not fatiguing in any way. So whenever you have like your cymbals, your strings, violins, or other brighter sounding instrumentation, all of it comes in very clean. You also get some pretty decent soundstage and good stereo separation as well, which can be boosted by using that Dolby audio if you want it to feel more surroundy or more immersive, in my opinion. Now, one of the test tracks that I used for the treble was Boot Up by LMA, which really shows how well the treble tuning can actually shine here. Now, this song is 100% R&B vibes all the way, with a smooth, punchy beat, the piano in the background, and LMA's beautiful, gorgeous vocals just caressing your ear canals. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So it's something you definitely need to add to your playlist, you know, if you're into R&B. If you're not, I don't know, man. I don't know if we can be friends. If you're not into R&B, I don't know if we can be friends. Just being honest, man. Now, moving over to some constructive criticism. I don't really have much constructive criticism to give here. If anything, I'd love to see the default signature EQ have some work done to it, because it sounded a little weird. Just to be honest, when I first put them in, I'm like, why does it sound like that? And that's the default signature EQ. But when I moved it over to acoustic, like, do this on your own. Go from Soundcore Signature and acoustic. They're right next to each other in the app, and listen to that difference. Acoustic should be the default. I'm just saying, but it sounds far better than that Soundcore Signature. They really need to rework that, in my personal opinion. Now, normally, you know, like I said, I don't have much constructive criticism here, because normally I would complain about like the lack of gaming mode, we have it here. The lack of wireless charging, we have it here. So it's like, we've got those things covered. So Soundcore really did give us pretty much everything we could ask for out of a set of earbuds at this price point. So we got to give them kudos and we got to give credit where credit is due. So now let's answer a couple of questions, right? One of the main questions that I know we're going to get asked is going to be, are the Liberty 5 better than the Liberty 4 Pro? My answer to that is no, but they get awfully close. The Liberty 4 Pro, in my opinion, they still win on sound quality and ANC strength, in my personal opinion. The Liberty 4 Pro can dig deeper on bass. They have more clarity in the treble and they have a wider soundstage. And overall, they feel like they have a much more overall cohesive sound. Now, don't get me wrong. The Liberty 5 are still great, but the 4 Pro, they still have them beat. So yeah, Liberty 4 Pro still remain the king in Soundcore's lineup, in Jefe's opinion. Jefe's opinion, all right? Just my opinion. These are still one of the very best options for earbuds that you can get in 2025 if you're looking to spend under $200. And if you catch them when they're on sale, it can be under $100 as well. I'm just saying. So now let's go ahead and jump into some microphone samples for those who like to take phone calls with their earbuds. I'll be doing both quiet and crowd noise tests so you can hear how they perform under different conditions. I'll also throw in some new competitors to see how they stack up against the competition. All right, here we have the microphone sample for the Soundcore Liberty 5. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the microphone sample for the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I'm in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, and here we have the microphone sample for the Skullcandy Method 360 ANC. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the microphone sample for the Sony 710N earbuds. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the microphone sample for the Nothing Ear A. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Soundcore Liberty 5 in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Skullcandy Method 360 ANC in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Sony 710N in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Nothing Ear A in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Now, with all of that out of the way, and for full disclosure, this video was sponsored by Soundcore. Despite this, they received no rights for copy or script approval and were not allowed to see this video prior to it being published. They are watching this video at the same time that you are. Now, I'm telling you all of this because I believe in transparency and honesty with you as the viewer. There will undoubtedly be other sponsored videos on the Soundcore Liberty 5, but not everyone is willing to disclose that as openly as I am. As always, please be sure to watch multiple reviews before making your final purchase decision. There's going to be great videos out there from my guys like GameSki, DHRME, Picky Audio, CEO in the making. So make sure you check out their videos as well if you haven't done so already. And if you have any questions regarding the Liberty 5, please feel free to drop those down in the comment section. Now, if you're interested in seeing my full review of the Liberty 4 Pro, check out the video that I'm going to leave for you right up here on the screen. With that said, my name is Jefe, and I'm out.